Hi.
Hi.
Hello. How you going?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, good. Bit out of it,
Yeah, well,
Yeah,
you're back home.
yeah,
Jet
that big,
lag.
big long trip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just waiting to see. We should have Joe as well. Hi, ladies.
Hi.
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 Um, okay. I know Joe said she was coming in the group. Just check she's not lost. I don't know. Um, how are we all?
Yep, good.
Good. How's the energies for you of lately?
Yeah, better now.
Better?
God,
Uh,
I'm flogging.
yeah. I've been slogging as well, but I'm not sure. I'm just checking for Joe. I'm not sure if that's because of the trip and the jet lag and all of that, but I think there's more going on, and I think Natasha said there was an eclipse or something. Was that on the weekend or something, Natasha? You sent me something. I can't remember.
Yeah, that was in America.
Natasha, you're not switched on. Well, an eclipse affects the whole world. This is
Yeah.
where you can see
It,
it best, I think.
it was the 13th for us at some point, but I didn't take note of exactly when, but I know that you feel it, before and after for a few days. So
Right. Yeah. So I don't know what. Oh, there's Joe. Let me see. Admit her. All right, we're in.
I haven't been able to keep my eyes open.
Well, I went and had a sleep. I had to set my alarm for 6:40. And I was asleep, but I wasn't asleep. I was kind of doing a lot of blending and stuff at the same time with spirit.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
as I said, it's just all happening. I don't know. Can't keep track anymore.
Not for good. Not good.
No, go with it. Okay. Joe, hi. Just check you're on board. No, just not got any cameras and things, but that's okay. See what happens. So anyone got anything they want to share, anything they want to ask, anything they want to just shit breeze on? No, all come in with no expectations, no nothing. Brilliant. Let's see where I am at. Okay, I'm not sure if Joe's on or not on, but we'll leave her name's there. So let's start. Okay, let's all just really in a blank spot. So it's very interesting. So let's all just gently go into our own space for a minute and just bring this container together. So as I said, I'm not sure what's happening here with Joe. So I'm just going to mute you, Raylene. What's going on with Joe? It's not working. Like, I don't know if she's not got a little, what do you call that, microphone or anything coming up. We shall see. Okay, I'm just going to start. Into the space. Let's go. All right. Joe's not quite there, but it's okay because I'm just kind of feeling her team. That's interesting. Okay. Hi, Joe's team. We're in. Okay. Let's just bring us into the space that we are going to create right now, that you've already been creating. You've been creating this for quite a while. Now, when they say the space, we're actually been amalgamating these fields. And when we say we say pretty much everybody who's on the awakening journey is starting to move into these fields where everything is changing. Earth herself is changing. So you're adjusting to her body changes, if you want to call it that, her carcass, if you would call it that. Words. So just go with our words, but know that the energy is behind it. So let's just bring you in feeling yourself in your own system, and then allowing that system to connect more to what is this new field, this amalgamated space. I just want you to feel that sense of open in your body, letting it relax, letting yourself just be. I'm just going to bring you on board a little bit more. So this is all about coming into this space that is your own brand. And what we mean by this is you're opening up to your forms of magic, your way of being, using the force. And we'll explain a little bit more about the force. The force that we term it as is the way that you can move matter and create. And you do it naturally. Every human on earth does it, but they use a container, and that container has been hijacked or manipulated or downgraded to what we would call the matrix. And there are many players in that. Part of what you've also been doing is going back through your own time and space to amalgamate into the fields of self, to pick up where you are from, what you've been doing, how you've been doing it, and to make peace with yourself on all your different levels so that you can become that wave of energy, that liquid light that you've become here to be as a human. So you are that nerve center, you are that nexus being. You've been taking control for the sheer fact that you've awoken to something that you don't fully understand, nor do you need to fully understand it. You just know that it is something that you are being led in, and from it is coming your own ideas of how to lead your life and what you want to do in that life. So you're actually opening to different things for yourself, but it takes time to amalgamate. So this is what you would call healing and revealing, as Natasha has always liked to put it. So we like to reveal what you are, who you are, but with that will come some of that grating energy, feeling the expression of where you feel locked or limited in it, and coming to a space where you can accept and open up to the yin and yang of that. So the extremes, the so-called yeses and nos, you become neutral in that. And in that way, you become part of the wave. You experience the expression as it really wishes to be from the source elements rather than from your matrix build. So you've been changing up your body as a result of that. Your body has been altering. You know there's something more to this body. And part of what that problem is the fact that you've been indoctrined and many lifetimes of a memory bank that is now being broken down and reconstructed to what it truly is. So you might call that DNA. We would call it PNA, or the plasmic neural advancement that you are, or advanced being that you are. Yeah, just words, right? We like to use the acronyms for Megan because it seems to give her a buzz. So we actually want you to understand that you are coming into much more of yourself. We want you to understand that you are opening up further, that your body is changing, what you would call embodiment, that you are actually feeling and fulfilling the fullness of your DNA. We are actually just looking now to see if we have anything going on with Jo. She has disappeared. Excuse us a moment. Okay, carrying on. All right. So we want to actually, just for Jo's benefit, when she watches this later, she is in the container of this. So she needs to know that she's a part of this and that she's feeling this. Where we want to take you now is in that leadership. We want you to understand that you are in the lead by sheer giving in and surrendering to what wants to come through. You've been doing this by connecting to the light. You've been doing this by receiving the love of life and the love of source and allowing that to flow through you. Here's Jo, perhaps. Okay. We want you to be able to open to that truth in you and allow it to build its own reality. Now, this isn't a reality on your own. This is a coordinated opening with the earth, Gaia, and the many who are here as a part of the realms of this earth connection. You are at doorways and gateways, and there are realms that live in the time factors that you are in. You just don't connect to them. So we want you to understand that you're now beginning to connect to them. And we are connecting to you in a way through Megan, but we are actually connecting you because with each of you, we stand beside you now. So time and space are irrelevant. Hence why we've always been able to talk to you at this time, and you could be listening to this later and it all has relevance. When you follow those urges, when you follow those needs, when you follow who you are and you come into your own space, you allow for greater connection. So what we were talking about in terms of the force, and we may be talking in circles, but there is a reasoning for this. We're always looking for the best way to open in and to find the doorway. So this is how we speak with energy. So force is that energy, a way of moving energy. So the terminology that we gave Megan was for her to come into her ability to connect with phenomena. And so phenomena was the spirit of water, which is actually an energetic beingness of the universe, and the spirits within the stone, within the earth, within the stardust, right? That is all part of it. We call it stone. We also wanted to connect to those very myriad beings of the spirit of trees. And when we say trees, we mostly mean generally plants, but trees are an important factor to what holds this reality together and how it is built. You understand it from a space of trees taking in carbon and then putting out oxygen, etc., etc. That's just the delicate balance of what it is at this level that you can see and you can measure. But from the greater level being, trees are part of the energy nature of force, and they are just putting themselves and presenting themselves as they do for you here as the trees you see, the word you've given, trees. We also then look at what is the wind. This is movement. This is the pressure of intention. This is how creation can come to be. So you yourself have currents and cycles and activity when it comes to wind, when it comes to how all this comes together. So we just want to lump that in as phenomena. It isn't what we're focusing on right now. You've been doing that anyways through the light. Light is full of phenomena, and you've been learning how to do that. But what we want you to understand now is we're going to give you some team members or make you aware of some team members. It's not like you haven't always had us here. And you are going to be able to open up more to your version. So each of you have your own individual types, and we'll talk about those. What we also wanted to talk about under the force is that there is the flames, and we have spoken on and off in the lights in the 9 months that are here and there around flames, but you remember them and know them quite well on earth through the angels. But you yourself are a flame. You are the blue flame. You are the purple flame. And although they have healing capacity, when you actually allow them to flow through you, you become a creator, because those energies have creation. On the other side of healing, which is breaking down and rebuilding, there is also creating new, fresh, opening up to something completely different. And this is part of the guidance that Source brings through you as to how you will utilize the flames. There's green, there's orange, there's many flames. But what we're also looking at, and we've been discussing that, you've been connecting to that, you've been building that within your body system. It is a force of fire, the element, if you would. And fire is so much more than what you understand it to be. It is a gift from the earth to you as fire, but you would actually know it more in its elemental capabilities of how it uses and bees in the systems of creation. So you know this on an innate level. It is your innate intelligence, and you are allowing your body system and your field to become open to those flows. So we now also want to put into the force that there is also the aura. Okay, you know yourself as an auric light. You actually have all had that time where you have had that aura read or seen, or you know that it's certain colors and it changes. But that is just the tip of what is the aura, right? You see the earth aura when you actually see the borealis, and you actually see how those flows are happening. But there's more than that again. So we have actually gone very deep into the color as light, which is part of what you have been igniting in yourself, your light body. You are a light worker, and part of the creative force and how things move and how things are made and what can be done is using that light, or as the force energy would be called, the aura. There are many capabilities within the aura. Now we come to the fourth part of how we broke it down for Megan. And there is much more deeper experience in this and your own understandings, but we've just given it in her way that she has been going with this from about 2016, maybe even earlier, where she's had understanding and where we gave her bits and pieces, much to her disgust. She would like to have it all on the plate and understand it, but that's not what it is. The brain is not here as the mechanism to lead this. The body is. They're opening to yourself as your own spirit being and the collective self that you are as a facet of source. You are those lights, those auras. You are those flames. You are the phenomena. You are the magic. Now, there are about 14 to 18 different types of magic that you can connect in with. They're ways of moving things. You might call the way that a witch would use her words as spelling. That's one way of doing magic. But there are many others, and many others that are in your mystical knowledge. The way that a sorcerer may actually bring forward magic, the way that Hogwarts plays with magic. There are so many different ways of doing magic, using tools and also just using the phenomena of yourself. So you are building yourself for this. But you have certain brands. Now, you may have had some discrepancies against certain types of magic because it has been used in foul for you on different levels and different timeframes. But now you are coming to understand that all you need to do is reconnect with yourself as the phenomena, as the flame, as the light, the aura, and you understand that you are stronger than you have ever thought yourself to be. You are becoming that body that can handle this kind of energy. And with that comes remembrance and also the new learnings, which is what we want to teach you, of how to use those magics. There are certain magics that apply specifically to you. We will get into those later down the track a bit more, but you will come to understand it more in your own way. And what it really is about flowing. That's all we've ever talked about, is about flowing these energies. And as the mages of the ages who are speaking to you now, this is actually what we want you to understand, that you are a flow system. You are a carcass, if you will call it that, of soul. You are the energy, the leader in the ship, or the ship that allows the leader to come through you. Because remember, you are far more than what you are right now. This is just the tip of your iceberg. You are far more below the surface than even you know. And so you are allowing the connection to all of that to come forward, to be allowing it to fly, to make its way into the creative field that is called Earth, into the creative field that is called universe. And you're allowing what we've termed the universal workings to come forward and operate much more directly with you. So it's not a case of the world is happening to you. It is you are happening to the world. Okay, so you are coming into the amalgamated fields of many other beings on different realms of Earth who have been forgotten, lost, or hidden, and you are bringing that all together. That is part of the 5D process. That is what fifth dimension means, that you will all be connected in that. But it also means you are beyond time and space, and you have recognition of that. There will always be an element of form or a carcass that you allow your spirit to move through, to operate in. And you are bringing that to a more liquid light state so that the flow can happen. And your mind will be a part of that. But your mind will also be following what is these leadership prompts. Now, they're very visceral in the sense that they are your thoughts, and your imaginations. But what is happening is you are actioning upon those, and you are letting go of thoughts that are indoctrined into you that say your body is something else, that your body works like this. You are letting go of those concepts and allowing what is to come through. It will take time, as you're discovering, to feel it first before you can put any form of words onto it. In the same way that if you were to talk to someone in a foreign language, you would need them to have a little bit of time to see and follow what you're actually doing for them to then understand what that is. And they would then put their own words on it, even though neither of you talks language. Now, ultimately, down the track, you will have the ability to beyond the language. But you're here for a purpose. You're here to bring the language of light, the language of phenomena, the language of love, to bring it all together here as this leadership being that you are. So you have purpose. And this is why we're calling this particular session with you the opening to your brand of spirit. Now you will have guides that will come forward and help you with the types of magic. This is what you're allowing now. You're learning it, you're feeling it, you're letting it upgrade. You know there's certain things that you do, like Raylene is very much a hands-on healer. But she also has other phenomena and ways of being with her flame that she hasn't ignited yet. So she's allowing herself to upgrade those. They've always been there. They're just not necessarily switched on in the space that she's in, because she needs to upgrade her physicality and her mental self and her emotional self and her spiritual self to a point where she is more amalgamated with that 5D field of operation, where the universal workings are bringing forward what is being called for from your very hearts and spirits of connection as one. Okay, so just letting you feel all of that. Sitting in the space with yourself. And when we say yourself, it's not just you. In the way that you would feel it or see it, it is this collective you, these facets of you, these aspects of you, these ways of being. So you're allowing for these magical ways to start to build in you. We would say that you have your own trainers, mentors, and teachers coming forward. You will have them as you are needing them. We may introduce you to them along the way here, but they may not take place or action too much until it is time. Because there are many things that must happen in the universal workings for you to be in the highest form of service to others. So you may need to do things like Megan did and go to France for rugby, not her favourite thing on the earth, but to go and do that because she needed to be able to connect to many of the French experiences of past, the ancestors of the France, and we would say more than France, right? It's just an entry, a doorway. And we would also say that she was helping those within her family and those around her within the places she stayed and those within many different realms to have an experience and an opening and a growth and an expansion and whatever else it is that is required. This was her doing her light work. Now, there was a lot of whingy Megan hanging about in that picture, but on top of that, she was able to allow herself to come in and out. I wouldn't say it was a definite flow of liquid light yet, but in and out of what it is that she could do. And she had awarenesses and recognitions of these along the way. Many of them were not recognized by her on a physical brain level, but were very much recognized by her inner heart and her inner body and her knowingness of innate intelligence. You are that intelligence. You are that source. So this is why we are calling it your own brand. Now we're using the terminology a little bit more in a way that you can understand it. What is my brand? What am I putting forward? You know, it's become a thing now in the media or the way of social media to have your own brand, to have a culture of your own. Well, that's a fluid thing. Okay, so you will find yourself changing up at times and growing and doing things differently because that's where it needs to be for you. You are not a fixed thing. And that is what has been the problem for many when they cut off and think they are but this one being, this one energy, this separated, a limited experience. So that's where you're at. You're moving yourselves away from matrix connection, and you've been doing it extremely well. We are so encouraged by what has been happening over these last months to see that the flow of offering this light to people who are so willing to take it and do what it is without really understanding it, but just on some level allowing themselves to feel the knowing and following it within themselves. We understand that there are many things coming into your field and many days and experiences and people and so forth, which is all part of your personal experience. You are so one of a kind. And yet you are part of the infinite. So you have the ability to be many different types of things. And so you have been on some higher level deciding what it is and how it is you will come together. You decided some of that long ago in different planes and different experiences, and now that's all coming together. It's like bringing all fields of knowledge into one. This will take time. This is not overnight, right? But in this process of allowing yourself to be led from the inside out, you are actually becoming more and more who you want to be, who you like, and who you are unapologetically going to allow. Your leadership to let people know that this stuff exists. And look, you didn't blow up and combust because of it. You are so much better for it. So therefore, it's time to let others know. Let others know that this is possible. Now, you can be doing that on a subtle level, and you can be doing that on a more direct level, as we are here, being a channeler, right? But at the same time, there are so many ways that belief comes through you, and people feel it, not just see it. Okay, so let's just feel now who it is that's standing to either your left or your right. I'll ask them to move into that space. So I just want you to feel the energy of what is there. Just letting yourself be open to that energy. You don't have to know what it is or who it is. You just need to allow the connection, the communication. Remembering that communication isn't always words. In fact, words are last. So just the feeling base. What do you notice? What do you feel? Now, as we bring you forward into this next step, we want you to understand that you have connected with those that are going to guide you and help you with what it is your body upgrades need to be, directions that you will take, and ways of doing the various activities that you do, specifically with your spiritual actions in hand. So what we might mean by that is that you may change how you're doing things or add some repertoire in, or you might find yourself going to different places and having different opportunities, because this is all part of where you are learning, where you are learning to action, where you are going to lead your ship. Okay, remembering that this is you, the soulful carcass, able to move forward and do whatever it needs to do by allowing its flow. So we would ask possibly that you sit with those that have connected with you now, again and again, until it becomes very comfortable for you. Because this is your creative ability coming forward. They are showing you through the actual experience of connection with them, and then what is happening in the universe workings that they can see and guide you through and help you to build that. So you will often find that you need to sit and just allow the energy to flow, because what you're actually doing is allowing those magics to come from you into the universal workings, into the fields, and to uplift you into a space that opens doorways and gateways for you as an actioning being, according to what Source is calling you to be and calling you to do. Mind wants to get in the way. Life wants you to be busy. But there will be times where you'll feel that you just got to sit down or lie down or allow. And there may be times throughout your day in your working world that you might find you just need to go and have 2 minutes, or take awareness of what is flowing through you whilst also doing other things. Because you are learning to become super strong with your energy so that nothing can diminish what you are doing and what you are part of the creation field and what you are creating in that field as the mystic architect energy. Now, this is one of the many energies we were talking about that you are going to come into. We've talked about Mother Nurturer, and we've talked about Father Provider, perhaps, just a touch, and we're talking now about Mystic Architect. These are creation energies and ways that they be in this field of experience as a human. And those energies come through you in different ways, using different ways with the phenomena and the flame and the aura. And they are the types of magic and what those intentions of those magics and how they are creating, what they are creating, and who you are creating with. You don't just do it on your own, and you don't always do it with human. You do it with ancestors from across time and space. You do it with like beings. You do it with unlike beings. You do it with those that come for a short time, those that come for a long time. And you've seen it in your own interaction as human relation, but this is more of a spirit relation. And this is what is opening up even more for you guys now. Okay, so it's funny, as soon as I said the word guys, I was like, oh, that's me. I just landed back in this like flow of me. Very funny. It's like the door closed, and because I was like, guys, you're going to call them guys? And it's like, no, hang on, that's my word. So it had a very different energy to it. Interesting. So yeah, I'm learning as we're going. I was feeling a lot when we sat in that silence, and well, it wasn't very silent. You were all communing with your teams that, you know, the expansion teams. Want words, I don't even know. Some of it is part of ourselves. Some of it is greater knowingness of different types and different energies. And we will find that we'll give it sort of a sense of, oh, it feels like it's very tree god, right? That's a mystic creator. a mystic architect who is able to really use the phenomena of the tree. And that may be one of the many magics you use. Druid energy has a lot of it. Elf energy has a lot of it. Okay, so those kind of magics I was talking about, when I say witch, I'm talking about the concept of spelling, although there are several others that spell. But there's also things like genie. Now, we already have it in our mythology that the genie can instantaneously bring something forth, right? So this is the kind of thing that we're talking about. But for some, you need to get past the concept of the genie and the jinn, the Arab jinn. And there is a lot of superstition and myth around that, because there have been realms of experience that you've all had where it is in the nasty play, because life itself, source itself, has always wanted to experience everything. Very greedy. So we want it to actually be more of a plan for you and a way that is going to lead your part. It's like having a bit of a job description to fit into, but we can't give you that job description because so much of what you're doing is unwordable, unknowable in the sense of human way, right, of communication. So it has to be communicated on the physical level, on the plane where you're meeting someone on another level. And so you might even feel a lot when you're speaking with that person, but on another level, you guys are connecting and something is happening and you are having a helping moment or a collective moment of part of how things are changing for both of you. And you may not even know what that is. They walk away, you walk away, you hardly even contacted each other. And yet there was a great connection on another level of expression that was very opening or expanding or revealing for both of you. But it plays out differently. So we could put it perhaps in ways where you meet somebody and you have an exchange of codes, but it's not on a physical level. It's on a different level, right? You are a being way beyond. It's like trying to squeeze. I saw this, I don't know, it just came up on my Facebook the other day, and literally the cat puts its head into a jar. And so it's like that. It's like you see yourself inside this jar. The cat's, oh, I know what it was. I was reading a book to my granddaughter. It's a Pamela Allen story, and it's called Felix. I know what it is. And he's trying to chase the mouse who's in the jam jar, and he gets his head stuck in the jar. And it's funny how in the moment of the time, I'm just reading the book to my grandchild, right? Having fun with her. But in the moment now, I'm kind of like, oh, there's so much more to be said from this symbolic nature of what was going on in this book. So imagine that you are that vessel. The vessel is the jar, okay? But you have ability to be expanded way beyond that jar. So there's your head stuck in the jar. Meanwhile, the rest of your body is doing a whole lot out the back, right? You might feel like you're banging your head trying to get the jar off, but the body is available to do many, many things. Okay, and in there was also the grandma and the granddad and the little girl in the story trying to pull that jar off that cat's head, right? So there's this sense of greater beingness always, a bigger body, let's call it, a bigger spirit body, a bigger energy body, bigger phenomena, aura, field, light, this whole sense of you. And in that is this concept of the magical ways, the truths of how things are created. And one of those is this mystic architect type energy, which could come through lots of different types of beings. So we got Megan to go back to a book where she connected to some of these energies and was just flowing and learning and wrote them down. So mystical architect for her was tree god, Magii, or us, the mages of the ages, and the stone goddess. There were three particular ways of building and designing and creating that have a certain energy to them that she was connecting to, particular beings of that moment, particular ways that they operate. And that's what she's very, very connected. Why was it that she in high school wanted to be an architect? Because it was very much a part of her energy way. She utilizes the architectural, mystical architecture a lot. Now, you may not use it as much. You may have different beings that are part of your energy field that operate through you in that way. But at the same time, it is always there. You know it. Just may not be your focus or necessary. Let's say it's the left foot, back foot on your cat leg, right? But you don't really need that leg as much as you use the others. Right? But you still need it. It's still there, all right? So we just want you to understand that each week as we go through these things, you'll have different types of energies that you're connecting to, different types of beings, and these beings will be, some of them, very strong for you, very part of how it is for you. And you may not even fully understand them yet or know them yet until you've felt them quite a few times, felt what that energy is like, because it's awakening the energy in you that is a reminder of it. It is creating channels in you so it can create further into this fifth dimensional creation of you and build upon that. Build with others in the fifth dimensional field, in the amalgamated fields. Okay, how's this landing for all of you? Let's go there. It's funny because I'm feeling this kind of, it's really strong, this mage energy channeling through me, and then it sort of comes and then it goes and it comes and it goes. It's like they step back a little and I step forward. Raylene, Natasha, Joe, you would all really understand this from our trance stuff. Hence why I was led to the trance so much, to understand concepts within the trance so that I could give myself the freedom to do them, I suppose. It's like my head had to be there at that time with some sort of structure, some sort of way. So what I'm thinking in this moment, knowing of my own past, is you might get some sort of instructions. You know what I mean? You might find those instructions given by somebody else. You're like, oh, I need to go to that. And they have a way of doing something. And you think, oh, that's quite good. I'm not really a ritual person, but I need that for now. And I'll utilize that until I don't, till it just isn't needed. You may always use it, who knows? But you may also have your own internal instructions come. In fact, it's probably more likely. You might find yourself writing down, oh, first I have to breathe into my mind, and then breathe into my heart, and then breathe into my, you know, and you might just have this way of doing your connection with this particular energy being, or to allow this particular magic to go out into the world, do its thing, and then come back to you as a reality experience. So we got to create it first, right? And then it comes back. It's called casting in a magical sense. In some of the energies that I've worked with, they've taught me how to cast through this area, and I feel a lot of energy coming from there. Okay, but that's why I have hay fever and other sinusy problems, and I've landed as in from the plane. It was happening on the plane. I was starting to get really dry and sore, and then I landed here, and my brain's kind of going, oh, you know, the easterlies are blowing. We've landed on Saturday night. And I'm like, oh my God, the easterlies, right? Forgot what they were. And, you know, my nose was really dry that night and my eyes were itchy and red. That had already been happening on the plane. Now, I could blame the plane air as well. But basically, today, woke up sneezing, what have you, was rudely awoken by the phone, suspected spam. But wasn't really, it was time to wake up. It was 9 o'clock. I'd had about an hour and a half that last night where I could not sleep. And I didn't want to wake up fully. So I literally went in and put the toilet seat down, sat on the toilet and did crosswork in there because I didn't want to use my phone and wake my husband. But I didn't want to go watch TV and I didn't want to go do something. I was like trying to stay in that low key mode. Eventually got back to sleep. And it must have been about 3:30 to 4 somewhere. And the next thing I know, it's 9 o'clock and the alarm's going off. You know, God knows where I went. But woke up very sneezy, eyes still very itchy and red. And just, it's like I could explain it away in so many ways. And yet I'm like, this is all about flowing energy and allowing it to move. This is actually what the intolerance to pollen and various other things is. Okay. And for me, it's mother nurture energy, but it's nurturing my own feminine self into this world, right? Nurturing on so many levels by letting it get out through me. So first it's about receiving. We don't want to receive other people's energy. But when we strengthen ourselves, we can receive other people's energy. And now we're putting that energy out. Now we have to put it out, right? Now we have to create with it. We're becoming the force, okay? And I don't mean force as in we're forcing, but on a level, we are finding those places and being the force that creates, right? So there's a difference to that I'm pushing to I'm allowing what we would call the force be with you. It's not a mistake that Star Wars came into our world. In fact, nothing ever is, right? But there's just some ways of if you're seeing the word force as something that is harsh and hard, perhaps sometimes it is, all right, because it can be used in different ways. That same magic, that same flame, that same phenomena, and that same aura can be used in a negative way. So this is where the knowledge of how to use it and the reason for using it and what the expression is in this new era that we're going into, we're following that calling. We're not playing in what was an old field of experience for source. Been there, done that, got the t-shirt, burnt a few butts along the way, and here we are. Hey, it's just that kind of weird feeling. I don't know what that is. Sorry, having a moment where I'm like, oh, celebrate me, celebrate you, celebrate us, celebrate everything. Like it's just that sense of, oh, we're just trying something new, but we've known about it for so long. It's like we're catching up, right? And now we're allowing that energy to come through, and it's really exciting. And I think that's where this, sense of pollen intolerance and mold intolerance. So for me, mold intolerance, I'd written on this same stuff that my mold intolerance or allergy was to do with the father provider energies. And that father provider, when you think about it, that masculine sense of it in its divine way, the way the masculine can build and create and provide, it's very reflected here on earth, right? But it's taken over as if it's everything and then forgotten the feminine nurturing part of it, right? So we want that flow to flow. But there are times when you're going to have strong father providing energies, and other times where the nurturing mother energy comes. Or maybe you have a combination of it both happening at once, which is why mold allergy actually makes me have hay fever style symptoms. And I would always get the mold allergy as soon as we went into winter. So while everyone else is like, oh, why are you sneezing? It's not hay fever yet. It's not spring. I was having it then, because this area for me was very prominent about how it operates and what it needs to do. And it was also had a lot of blockages and a lot of system, I want to go system errors, like, you know what I mean? And where things aren't plugged in right, and it all needed to be across the field of me, across the extension of the universal workings. I needed to find my footing in that and then bring it all back to how's that going to flow through me now. So these are parts of what I'm upgrading in my body and how I'm seeing it. How I'm seeing it, meaning how I'm understanding it, and how my body wants to let it happen, right? Am I resisting it? Am I in resistance? Usually that's what any form of sickness or unhealth is. It's just sheer resistance of who you are as a flow. Okay, I asked you if you wanted to say stuff, and then I went on a sorry. So let's share. We're coming to the end of our thing. Who wants to share what and how, or ask questions, or put in your own thoughts? Go for it.
I always go first.
Well, Natasha had turned it off. She just hadn't spoken yet. Jump in. Go.
Oh, you can go first if you want, darling. No. I can't say that I felt. I'll say what I did felt, but then, which wasn't a whole lot, but I felt my chakra sister opening, and their presence was almost like family.
Good. Nice.
So that's interesting, because
It's interesting. It might be a family you've not felt for a long time. Could be.
yeah, it felt very
Now,
familiar.
I would probably say it's more of a particular type of beingness that has a particular magic energy to it, and that you're ready to start feeling that kind of energy again and igniting it all within yourself. Yeah, that feels right. Hence why it feels, it's like your body's like, what is this? I haven't played in this stuff for a long time, meaning many lifetimes, right?
Yep.
And it's igniting part of it. You'll have a lot of embodiment come with this, like parts. It's almost like structures of your classic self coming back. It's what the classic self is.
I've actually been asking for this.
Mm-hmm.
And I've actually been asking them for this, is to bring this forward. So interesting it's come up, isn't it?
Yeah. So the fact that you sort of go, oh, I'm not feeling much, that's okay. We got to let you have it in increments.
Total comfort zone. I was total comfort zone.
Yeah.
But I was drying out really fast, like I was getting so thirsty.
Yeah. So your body will have to have adjustments to all these new energies and new sort of opening.
Yeah. Well, they said I have to upgrade and like something. So
you're ready to do all that on particular levels. Like we said, there'll be some weeks where you'll be like, okay, I feel like I connected to something, or I understand it, but it doesn't feel like it's really in my realm right now, because it probably isn't. It's just we've opened the door to it, and you're kind of just fitting in with the flow of, oh, okay, this week this is what's happening, but next week is like, oh, that's my banger, that's my thing, right? I'm ready for that. But you may go back to that, and that may come in slowly at various times, or it may never need to be a strong part of what your way with the force is, right? Your creative way, okay? But in this case, we feel like it is very classic you, and it needs to come in because it will feel very at home, very comfortable. But there will be some kickback from your body sometimes, as it's restructuring and allowing, because you not only do you go, oh, I'm stepping into that and that feels lovely, well, now you've got to bring it back to the ship, right? It's got to settle in, right? It's got to get it's got to get it sealing. Okay, so it's part of that. So you went ashore and picked up some new passengers, but they're going to come and be part of the crew now, like how do they fit the crew? We're like, oh, there's a few teething problems. The ship needs.
It's funny you said how did they, because I felt two.
You felt what?
Two.
Okay, good.
But I could be wrong.
No, you're not wrong. You're right all the time.
Yeah.
It's all perfect.
Good.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry.
And you are in a position now to recognize this moment you feel and understand this. Next moment you feel and understand this. Next moment you feel and understand that and this. Oh, hang on, how does that and this go together? Next thing you know, you're feeling something completely different, and your understanding has changed up. And you may not even feel like you want to use the words or do the actions you were doing before. But it doesn't mean you've stopped. It just means you've amalgamated it in to what else is going on, and it fits into the picture. And there comes a point where it becomes comfortable, almost forgotten, because it's you, just being you, letting the energy flow in that way, whilst you're concentrating on a new way or something else, right? So, okay. Yeah.
Interesting. It's funny, because I had the church, so they're doing a fundraiser on Saturday. So I'm doing healing there. And I was told to bring my healing bed. And I cringed. But no, that's not why I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know why I did that.
Yeah. So this is where you sort of go, oh, that's a resistance in me. Not sure why or what. What else do I need to connect to and flow and do? Or I'm just going to break through it by saying, yep, I'll take the bed. Even though there's part of me going, what the fuck are you taking the bed for? Right. I don't want to do this. But it was very heartfelt, strong, intuitive, or communication. So you're now going to take that on board. All right. Part of the leadership of changing your life. And you might not even use it. But the point is, whatever came up in you as a resistance is what is being dissolved, right?
Yeah. Because in the last 2 days I've had, because I've gone from absolutely on top of the men the last 2 days, just crash and sleep.
Right.
Not really down, a little
Right.
down, but not much.
Just feeling the body energy, that
Yeah,
fatigue.
yeah.
Yeah. And
That
that
fatigue.
fatigue is fine. That's all part and parcel, as you know. Mm.
Yeah, sleep. I nearly let the lambs free yesterday.
Yeah. Whoops. Don't forget the jobs. Okay.
It was like, oh, got to get up. Oh,
Wow.
4 times a day.
Yeah. Oh.
All right, I'll be quiet and let somebody else have a turn.
Okay, love. Thanks for sharing all that. It's all exciting. All right, Natasha.
It's funny because I didn't touch the microphone when you said that I had touched it.
No, you hadn't. It switched it off. Oh, that's interesting.
Because it's under the ledge in the slot of the phone. So,
So it's like part of yourself is already ahead of the game going, I'm going to speak. Look, your energy's doing shit. Like, it's all working through you.
yeah, I had a lot of thoughts and things going through my head throughout the talking and sharing and after that. But in the sense of what I felt and whatnot, I just got a sense on the left. I can't even describe what it felt like. It was more knowing than feeling a lot. Because like I'm not feeling anything. What am I supposed to be feeling? You know, the mind is going thinking stuff. And then I just like going into it and relaxing. And I got this real sense as I was breathing of this kind of feeling of me doing this. I can't quite explain it.
Yeah.
But then I was like, and then the mind comes in, oh, that's just your breathing. You always feel like that. And then I'm like, no. And then I got this big purple shimmery liquidy bag looking thing just there. And then I got this sense of not wings, but this wavy kind of energy as well. So it's very, very hard to words.
But you
Very.
did feel and you did sense and you did have knowings. The brain just wants to put it all together, of course, and do all that. I don't really have anything else to offer with that. I'm just you've got what you've got and you'll discover what you need to discover. That's all I get. So yeah. You got this. It's not for me to explain what it is. I don't need to feel it or decide or do anything.
Yeah. And I definitely had like these like sort of thoughts and questions and things that aren't actually questions per se, because it's more of me questioning myself and like, oh, I've been doing that. Have I been doing that? Oh, is this what you mean by blah, blah, blah? You know, I don't even know what all the words were because I just all came really fast in that sense. And I guess that's just the mind getting in the way of, like you say, the energy and everything. So I've definitely been having a lot of like the resistance and stuff coming up with doing things a bit differently, and like with doing the socials and the marketing and the putting myself out there and that kind of thing. So it's quite interesting, like pushing through that and feeling that and like seeing my reactions to these things and helping heal and clear that, reveal the truth that is actually beneath all that resistance and everything like that. So it's been interesting times.
I bet.
So but definitely had some things come up with the crystal grids and stuff like that, so it's like, definitely want to do more with them again. They've come back up. It's like come again,
Expanding even more into that and being who you are now with that too, And that I find that with things, they come in circles again and you're like, oh, I've got my focus back on that, because there is this kind of, you try something, do something, and you might think you failed or you didn't go very far with it, but there's all these upgrades and all these things, and then when it's time, you're actually ready to come back to it and do it again, but slightly different and more with it. And it's just, how that kind of works in that sort of going up the vortex thing, I suppose you might call it. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's all very, very, very exciting. I don't know what it is, but I'm excited. And I can sort of feel this kind of, it's like a little ripple through the arena kind of feeling like, oh, okay. There's a lot of people here watching this right now, feeling into it. And yeah, purple. That's a good color. It's a strong color within the field of creation. Bringing back the wonder. Amazing. All right. Thanks for that. Joe, I know Joe was a bit late on the scene, but you've been a part of it, Joe, so you didn't, whatever you might have missed, if you go back and listen to it again and watch it, you'll pick up anything. So how did you go with all of it?
No, it was very good, and I felt the energy very strongly on my right side, and there was a very high concentration of heat, and I really, and could even feel it in front of me. So this person was somebody I'd say quite close, and somebody that I could, work with.
Yeah.
As well, somebody whose energy I could work with.
So you're feeling very open to that.
Yeah,
that's good. I feel like you'll know more as time goes on about how and what it is they're showing you and opening up in you and guiding as well. They won't always be there. They'll come and go as required, but I can feel that they're there a lot already. You just need to allow and accept more of who you are and what you're capable of. That's part of what's being brought forward now, is a certain sort of concentrated focus on a particular method or way or doing, you know what I mean? And just so that you get more and more comfortable with that as well. Yeah, I don't have any more words for that. You'll feel it, you'll know it, you'll come to experience it in your own way. That's all good. It's part of that mystical architect energy for you, particularly. It is about creating and having the ability to help people undo some creation around them or within them that isn't sort of serving them. But it's in a very sort of key way of doing it. You sort of think, oh, it's going to be like a healing energy. It's more of a magical way of doing something. So you'll know, and you just carry on doing it. It won't necessarily be that you're going to be doing hands-on or any of this stuff. It's just as you do things, that magic works. It's coming alive in you, I feel. It'll take a bit of time, but your guidance is already stepping in and you're becoming more and more comfortable with the flow, because this is it. You are the creator being, right? So you've got to let that creator energy flow through you. But it'll have certain applications that are going to be highly welcomed by a lot of people. Don't know how else to explain that as well. Yeah. It's like, the usual sounds fantastic. What is going to happen? Don't know, just travel it. You've got to just do it. Okay. Oh, Di's dropped off. She had to go, obviously, did she? Is that in the chat? Let me see the chat. Yep, sorry, I have to go. She's feeling stressed from her neighbours. Still going on, poor thing. Okay. I'm definitely going to have to listen back to what was channeled, because already I don't even remember parts of what was said. I know a lot of it already, in the sense that I've been there and experienced, and now I'm just putting it more into words for others. But but there was application for me too. So I was feeling an energy here quite strongly, feeling my hands really operating, feeling my energy coming out here. So there was a lot passing through me as well, upgrading me in my own way, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, my
Yeah.
hand's burning.
So this is, yeah, because we have the energy in our hands. It's part of what, you know, some of this magic sort of creational energies and so forth will come through you in various parts, you know. It can be very dominant in certain parts, and it may need to come through you in certain ways first that can be very, very intense in a particular part of you. But as it expands and becomes more of you, meaning it has lots of little nadi doorways to come through, right? Those little portals of you, the vortexes of us, the energy sort of flows, then it will become more and more comfortable. More and more to the point where you sort of think, is that still happening anymore? Do I still do that? You'll have an awareness of it when it's very intense, but then you'll just be like later, do I still do that? And there'll be times where, you're still doing it, but it's not delivered in the same way through your body. So, yeah, this is our growth factor. This is becoming more mystic, you know.
You also mentioned the casting.
Yeah.
And
So
when I've found myself doing that.
Yeah.
And I feel the energy leaving.
So the way I was shown that was I drew a picture of an elephant with orange and green bubbles coming out of it, and out of its trunk. And so this was when I was like, what is this? This was all about casting using that trunk energy, so to speak. It's like tunneling it to wherever it needs to go, very specifically like a trunk, right? But that's these bubbles, and it has an energy of phenomena within that, and flame and light. So you're kind of directing those parts of your force in a particular way. But what is being cast through there could be many different types of things interacting, has to go out into the universe, land where it needs to land, do what it needs to do, and then it'll come back to you, and you might receive it even here or you know, anywhere, but you'll receive that, and then it kind of settles into you as a sort of, oh, I know something, or oh, I'm going to move with this, or it shows up as actual changes in your world and things happening, you know. So this is you architecting certain things. But again, we know that when stuff goes out there, it may need time. Sometimes it's instant, it's very genie oriented, but a lot of it can be, it needs time to see how others are going to play out, to see where the best sort of possible things can be. And as we've said before, you know, it can be that, you know, 5 different people may serve the need you have to have something occur, or may need what you need, but who's going to step up first and come get it? Or who's going to step up first and action something that then creates some change around you? We're not alone as much as we'd like to be. But what we're doing is we're not necessarily focusing on what is going on in the so-called real world, right? And, you know, there's a lot happening. A lot of that is the surface eruptions of what is to be seen, what needs to be felt. There's changes going on, right? Almost think of it as another part of the world, as in the body of Gaia, happening elsewhere. And you know, some of those places are very dense, and they are what they are, and the people respond to that in that way, and it has nothing to do with you. But if you focus on it, then you're busily focusing on what they're dealing with as an energy rather than what you need to do as an energy. So hence why most spiritual people will start to move away from the news, or only deal with the news when they know they're in a very strong sort of state. It's a mindset thing, big time, right? Fucks with the mind.
I made the mistake of going on something last night. The whole bloody world was going off.
Yeah, well, I've had a ton of it, right? Because my in-laws watch the news constantly, right? So we've had all the wars and all the Israeli stuff, all the Ukraine stuff. I mean, the Israel stuff was pretty interesting in the sense that where it's all happening, Richard and I met there. That's where I met my husband. And we were literally 3 kilometers from the Gaza Strip up the top there. We've been to Ashkelon. That was one of the cities that was attacked, you know. We understand and know that place, but that's 30 years ago, right? It doesn't necessarily fit us now. And yeah, it was just interesting to sort of go, oh, okay, I'm not sure how or why we met in that energy in that space. And now it's sort of, you know, it's erupting, it's opening up. There's different things. I don't know. It's whatever it is, it is. But yeah, as far as news goes, yeah, I was kind of ensconced in a lot of it and had to run my own energies whilst listening and being around a lot of this. Yeah. And I mean, they didn't just watch the news, they watched the breakfast show. They had the TV on all the time, you know, it's just around. And because I was having to deal with them sometimes or not deal with them, I just had to go and watch whatever they were watching, as in, you know, be in the other room where the TV was, kind of idea. Just, yeah, a lot of interesting unhealthy energy happening around me, and me having to hold my health in that. I can't say I did it all perfectly, that's for sure. It was hard going. But I shook it off pretty quick and moved beyond it pretty quick. I had attacks going on at night from my in-laws, particularly my mother-in-law. Had to deal with a lot of that. I did not ever take off my, I'm not wearing it now, but my hematite ring. Pretty much, if I took it off to have a shower or something, it was just there. I slept with it beside me on the bed, and the same with my hematite and lava rock bracelet. I pretty much wore that all the time, even though it drove me insane sometimes, because it's, you know, you're leaning on something and it's there, you know. I'd be swapping it over hands and stuff. But I took it and wore it for 6 weeks everywhere I went. I don't normally wear those things, but I needed to help my own magnetics and my own sense of stone, as in what am I and who am I, stay in alignment and work with that. I became super aware of how those crystals were helping me to hold myself amongst some very strong, buffeting, nasty energies. So, yeah, it's pretty interesting. And my in-laws, they're not, my God, even my husband now is like, oh my God, my mum and dad are nutters. Like, I can't believe. And none of the family, the rest of the family, all trying to deal with these very, very negative people who are, I mean, they're not happy, not even remotely happy with each other or the world or anything, you know. And yeah, just so much to deal with and so many different focuses. I can't even begin to explain what it was like, but it's been super interesting to conduct myself in all of that, you know. And yeah, it's all very, I'm so glad to be home. Because amongst, you know, we had weeks where we were down south in England, and that was fantastic. And we had 2 weeks in France. France was interesting. I had an up and a down in it all. But as far as the company went, they were fantastic. But yeah, interspersed between that were these weeks, 3 weeks of having to deal with these in-laws because we were living in their house. And I can swear to you now, we won't be staying there next time. What they think. It won't be taken lightly if there is a next time, because I do feel like one of them will pass very soon, within the year. But
yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of souls leaving the planet with what's.
And I think, well, thank fuck for
I
this.
just see my mum going in that too.
Yeah, they're not happy, and it's torturous.
Yeah.
Life is torture.
Yeah, that she's doing it to herself too. So I totally understand what you're saying when it comes to that energy of that era. They are their own worst enemies.
Yeah, well, you know, it's not all of them, obviously, but
no,
this particular people. Yeah, you know.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
just-
my mum's the same. She's terrible, and no wonder I had a lot of fucking healing.
well, and the thing is, I couldn't offer any form of healing to them.
No,
I got told, you're not.
everybody would have not accepted it anyway,
No,
darling.
that's it. Well, there's no space for it.
Mm.
In fact, it's a lot of attacking mode from my mother-in-law and from my father-in-law. It's just a closed book, just totally closed, you know.
Yeah.
The slow and painful breakdown is the way I see him.
Yes.
But you know, there was moments where we had some good times with them. But yeah, boy, when someone's in a negative mindset and focused on what they want to focus on, it is so relentless. It just felt relentless. It was
Just
really.
go outside. I'm just going to go pick some flowers.
Mhm.
I'm going to go watch the bumblebees.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of that stuff of just being in my own bubble. But yeah, it wasn't always easy. So anyway, yeah, that was all part of the learning curve for me.
Put your back.
Strengthen my system.
Your
And
back.
yeah, you got to be able to move amongst people and not fall back into that matrix system with them, you know.
Yes. So hard not to too.
Absolutely.
Like,
Yeah.
It's I fight it every time I'm around them.
Mm.
So I even had to say no to my sister coming here now.
Yeah.
Because I went, no, this is crucial time for me now. No, I'm sorry.
Yeah. This is it. And you do become self-focused to the point where boundaries have to become, you know, put in.
I just had to say no. I'm not being selfish. I just got lots to do.
Yeah.
I've got yeah.
And that's where we start putting those higher needs above, you know, the needs of what we as a light worker are here to do and why we're working on ourselves to get there and what we're allowing to come through energetically. You can't have somebody who's not on the page step into the middle of all of that. You know, it's like having some wild dog run through your showroom and destroy everything you're bloody putting together there. Like, you know what I mean? Your work getting on your computer and playing with your computer. Yeah, it's radical stuff that doesn't fit the picture at all. And you've got to pick and choose how and when and what you do, and you've got guidance and inner strength to lead you that way. It's just allowing ourselves to do it while we fight those feelings of, oh, but I'm not being a good daughter or sister, or all those sorts of things that crop up, you know. However,
staying our part, mate.
Yeah, you know.
And sadly, is where you have to start to look at it that way.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're just going to keep getting caught in that. Just have to, you know, as much as you still love them.
Yeah, absolutely.
I still love them, but you have to look at it that way.
Yeah, this is it. And that's part of breaking the cycles, you know, because otherwise we're just repeating and carrying on this particular type of energetic experience that they are living in, and we're just working in it as well and living in it, and it smothers us, you know. It dims the light.
Yes, I put on the spiritual eyes.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, for sure. So has anyone else got anything they want to say? Otherwise, we'll just leave it at that with put on the spiritual eyes. And I'm seeing it as eyes, but I'm seeing it as eye, you know, the eyes that we're spiritual eyes. Jo, you got something?
Before I close off, Tash, I think I need to do a healing. I think you better come up and get on my table, girl. I think we need to do each other, actually.
Okay, so here is where I would suggest you say to Natasha, would you like it? How do you feel? And recognize that you two are at a level where it may be a case of Natasha has something that she could heal herself, but it would actually be quite good as a teacher vibe for her to be able to teach you or to show you some things just from her energy field where you go, what is that? I can alter that. Oh, that's interesting. And she's strong enough to let you go ahead and do that, if you know what I mean. It doesn't interfere with what is hers or what she would learn.
Right. That's right.
Yeah, so I'm just getting the sense that this is a learning curve. If you want to accept it, Natasha, this is a learning curve for Raylene, but you'll never not be compensated in that, because as much as Raylene's feeling this need for healing, it's more like a revealing. It's more like a strengthening. It's more like a comprehension that something's there already and you would know it. But if you go and see Raylene, you can kind of move through it together and strengthen it a little faster and a little easier. Does that make sense? Because it's not really about healing in this. This is about, it's like if I was to say you've got a little vibe coming through, let's create it this big and get the flow channel happening. It's something along those lines. So what you're doing is enhancing and advancing, as opposed to just, oh, it's broken and I'm fixing it. You know what I mean? Yeah. So there's a mentality just to realize that you aren't just a fixer.
I just think she knows what I'm
yeah,
about.
but Raylene, you're not just a fixer for people.
No.
You're an advancer. You actually can help them to lift the flow and lift what is already there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Oh, there's a comprehension here for you to understand the broader level. What
I'm gonna write this down.
that understanding, and that understanding actually comes through the action of it more than it will but you'll have your own brain understanding. But at the same time, we've all been so taught by the spiritual sort of ways that we're fixing and healing, and yet a lot of it isn't that.
No, that's right.
It's already there for a lot of people. It's trickling, and you're like helping to get the floodgate going, helping the rest of the body to accommodate it, helping the field to be cleared. There's a few boulders in the way. We could get a better flow if we did it this way, et cetera, et cetera. So it's, I don't know. I just felt like I needed to broaden your mindset on that.
You did need to.
Yeah, just giving you some different food for thought on that. Because I think when you start to feel around with that, it's a bit like tasting it in your mouth and kind of, okay, let's talk about wine and be a bit wanky here, but you're having that sense of the mouth taste and what does it feel like, and do I like it? Do I not like it? Oh, could it be improved? What would happen? But you've really got to roll it around your mouth rather than just guzzle it down and get the buzz, right? Okay, this is what I'm kind of getting. It's this sense of, I could really do something with this. You're the Vinter, what's the person? Vintor? What's the person who makes wine?
The brewer.
Well, that's the makes
no.
It's wine. The Vinter, I've been to the Champagne region. I should know this, but it's gone. So anyway, that comprehension of really getting the sense of this concept of, oh, I can actually advance and expand and do that sort of stuff for people. There's something around that, because when you start really playing around with that a bit, you'll open up even more to the availability of that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah, it's just one of those things where we sort of got this blinkers with our words and our thoughts around things sometimes. And then you sort of go, oh, what's that? Oh, okay. Oh, and then now suddenly you've got all of that. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah, I can fix, but I can do this too. And I accept that. And I've opened more to what that is by having my mind open up a bit more. Yeah. We can lock it down a bit. It's just whatever. It's like, whatever.
Gives me a bit more clarity anyway.
Just something to chew on a little bit and get a good taste for it, and expand your repertoire on it. That's what I feel like. And that may be, but you're feeling it in Natasha, and the way that it came across was a feeling of fixing, but really you need to be aware there's more of this sort of offering that you have, and when you allow your words and minds to play around with what it is you're doing, you will expand it even more, what you actually are doing. You'll do it even easier and even better, and you'll feel the response that has in you, and that will change up some of your body chemistry as well.
Yeah.
Because, that feeling of, oh, I did it, it can give us, when you're flowing something, it can give you quite the buzz too.
Yeah, of course it can.
I think that's why I was referencing wine, and as in we get a buzz from wine, but we always look for the buzz and we think, well, that's what it's about. but there's a whole pile of different wines on the shelf, so to speak. So yeah, I don't know why I've got this referencing. It's very odd. Anyway, yeah. Thanks for that. Joe, how are you going?
Thank you.
Gonna add something to before?
No, I have nothing to add. I don't know why that hand is up there.
I know it's doing some funny little things.
Yeah, it is. I think it's better putting it there. I didn't press anything to put
No,
it
I
there.
didn't press anything. I don't know what's happening. It's like, oh, yeah, we've got some energy. I want to say bugs, but I would say it's funny. I want to go bugs, thugs. No, none of those. Just get a whole different rhyming pattern because it's like the energy pals. Let's call them. Woohoo! We're just doing things. I don't know. Oh, that's funny. It's kind of like how you can use your energy. You can use it as a bug, virus, annoyance, whatever. But you can also use it as a bug to pollinate and bring on new things. And you can also use the energy as a thug, right? So that you can also use this energy in a way that is pally, as in complementary to what is happening. And it's not just that we're opening to this, oh yeah, I let you guys step in and be part of my realm, right? Yeah, you can flick that on and off. Now, I'm not necessarily thinking that personally, but on a spiritual level, my openness is saying, yeah, I'm open to what else is here. It's becoming more and more part of my world and interacting with me, not just, that I sense it. There's things happening in the room, Jude, right? Computers turning little hands on and microphones on and off. So whatever. This is fun.
I feel like I need to listen back to that recording as well.
Yeah. Now the other two from when I was away, I still need to sort them out, download them out of the cloud, and then load them up into Patreon, so they're part of the system. But I'll leave the recordings there and the links because they're still in the cloud until I've downloaded it and stuff. But I'll get that over the week. Say that again, Del.
The password for the second one didn't work. I tried it
with
4 times.
Yeah, did you try it with a dot in front? Because I know what I did was I cut and pasted it and gave it to you in that bottom in my reply, but I noticed it doesn't actually have a full stop in front of it. And so I must have cut and pasted and missed the full stop. So it actually, if you look at it now, I've redone it again and it should be the one.
Yeah, it's at the top.
Yeah.
I couldn't get it to work, but
okay. Never mind, because as I said, within the next few days, I'll get that downloaded and reset like I normally do them. So you'll all have access easy without whatever passwords were required. Yeah.
Nice, thanks.
Okay. So I've got my notes on this when I was like, what am I going to call this? Was in this earlier today, was in the new fields amalgamated, more spirit to connect to, opening to your brand of it, leading the way for your ultimate benefit and earths. And then I was able to title it Opening to Your Brand of Spirit. I think the brand of spirit will be expanding as we go through each week, and it's that combinational way of you and opening up more and more of these particular types of energies in the higher levels. Again, we've been having some of it, we've been having nothing, and some of it we've been having little trickles, and some of it we've been having decent sizes, but it's kind of like, well, how do I use it now? Where is the universal workings and source wanting me to apply myself? What is the focus? Because, source can see everything. What is the focus of what is needed that I can now put myself into? I'm ready to grow into that and expand into that and do more of that. It could be anything. As I said, it doesn't necessarily mean it's our spiritual work as a business level of 3D human life. It may well be our spiritual work, which is just us, right? It's not work, you just are, you apply yourself, you do. So my spiritual work was applied when I was in my travels, okay? And then there were other places, times and frames in that where it was like, now what you're doing is just focusing solely on your own strength and staying out of all of this, not letting that happen. being strong enough to be Teflon amongst whatever. Other times I was actually doing all sorts of things, feeling lots of different things for the sake of feeling it. Oh, what does that feel like, and how am I when I'm in that space? There were some fear moments in various things when we're in some not so great neighborhoods and stuff in France. And so, you know, recognizing that I had to listen to my own faith of self that said, trust, you're safe, you're going to be fine, there's no drama. Meanwhile, my body is having little turmoils, my brain is having turmoils about feeling the fear, you know, so learning to let that go. You often don't know that exists until you're put into the position to feel it, right? So so, you know, but you've got to know that you're strong enough and you're supported enough to go through it. And, you know, again, it's a bit of an internal fight, like you said, Raylene, where you have this little war with yourself about it because you want to whinge, or you want to, you're finding yourself scared and nervous and thinking all the negative things. And yet there's a part of you going, this is not me. And being able to say, well, I need to run bliss energy with me right now and just feel my bliss again, or, you know, having your own mechanisms of bringing yourself back to that central strength. Yeah.
In every conversation I have with my family, it doesn't matter which one of them, but you have to, and it's really hard because you want to just hang up the phone and do not get involved in that conversation or the negativity that goes with it. But you still have to be the sister and the daughter and the, you know, so you have to find that way to it's hard, eh?
Well, it's about finding that peace within it.
And the whole answers yet.
No, and this is part of it.
Better. But my awareness of everything is there.
Yeah, that
put that shield up.
Yeah, exactly. And finding those other tools from within, and, you know, being able to bring the strength of that force system through you to counteract what is going on, or to move that back a bit so you're not as flooded by it, or it's not true, and to learn to let go of the triggers then within yourself that are there.
We can't judge that because we were there at one stage too.
Well, this is it. We didn't know any different, and we've had those lives and those time frames. And yeah, it's not about judging, it's about choosing.
No, that's right. But we can quite easily judge too.
Oh yeah, and we judge ourselves in that as well, right?
Yeah. Anyway, I think I might go back on my lounge.
It's 9 o'clock. We did a long one tonight.
That was lovely. Thank you.
Well,
Thank you.
Be interesting to see where it takes you all next and what you feel. When you watch that back later, or if you watch it back later, or if you haven't, just put in any questions or whatever that might come up, because we talked lots of stuff, and there might be something where you go, can you expand on that more, or what do you mean by this? And I may or may not do it in the comments. I might just bring that with me next week and have a discussion about it or whatever, because we're building on, this is a pathway we're building on now. So, you know what I mean? So you'll come to better understanding of how this fits you and what it might mean to you, and kind of, you know, when you hear something that's quite new to you, you're like, what are you saying? Like it's a foreign language almost, and you just have to have time to hear it a few different times in different ways and feel it and experience it in your own way, and then it becomes like, oh, I get this. You might not be able to explain it, but you get it, and you can utilize any of my words in that have been given to me, because a lot of those words I never used them in the beginning, and they came from within. They weren't something that I used, you know. And then there's words that I'm using, but I'm using them from a different context, a different feeling base. They don't apply to what they used to apply to, you know, things like that. Or what others apply them as, I'm using them differently. And sometimes I can't even explain further what it is, because it is a feeling-based thing. You have to feel it for yourself. Does it apply for you now or not? Do you resonate? Do you not? Does it have something that you feel like's there and you just want to let it build, let it, and see where it goes? Then that's that openness to where is it going and what's next feeling. Brain wants to jump in and say, have an answer for that. But with universal workings and architecting as a mystical being, you have to allow time for these things to develop. Right? We're kind of like, we're like photographs being developed, right? And then you imprint it onto something. Like, it's a bit weird. Yeah. Anyways.
Anyway, thank you.
You're welcome.
I have to go now.
Ladies, next week.
Bye.
Love you lots. Bye, Joe. See you, Eileen. Bye, Natasha.
Bye, darling.
Bye, Di, if you're watching this again. See you later.